or other religions?
Well, the first point is I don't put my faith in Christianity. Christianity has been used to justify the Crusades, the Inquisition, the Salem witch trials, all right? I put my faith in Jesus Christ. Christianity...
This is one of the best explanations of why Cliffe puts his faith in Jesus over other religions. A student asks him why Christianity is true while other religions are not. The discussion highlights how Christianity stands out as historically reliable. Which argument do you think makes the strongest case for Christianity? Share your thoughts in the comments below. Now, let's dive into the debate.
So you're saying that Jews who don't believe that Jesus was like a prophet, and that people who believe that Muhammad was the prophet, you're saying that they're wrong. That's a pretty bold statement.
Okay. Sir, if the atheist speaks the truth, I am wrong. If the Muslim speaks the truth, if Muhammad spoke the truth, I am wrong. If Siddhartha Gautama Buddha spoke the truth, I am wrong. Right?
Sure.
Okay. If Jesus Christ spoke the truth, then I'm going to heaven, because he promised eternal life to all who trusted in him. So, sir, let's be real honest. Pardon?
Do you trust Jesus?
I trust Jesus. But, sir, let's be real honest. Every time anybody makes a truth claim, I don't care if you're an atheist, a Hindu, a Muslim, a Christian, a Jew, that means whatever contradicts that truth claim is wrong. So, obviously, then the question becomes, who are you going to trust to tell you the truth about God? Who are you going to trust to tell you the truth about heaven? Who are you going to trust to tell you the truth about the way to heaven? And I'm standing here saying, the reason that I think it's wise to trust Jesus Christ is because the historical evidence of the way he lived, the content of his ethical teaching, Robert Coles, the psychology professor at Harvard, pointed out, all the writings on ethics over the past 2,000 years are simply footnotes to the Sermon on the Mount. Ethical brilliance in the Sermon on the Mount.
And where did that come from?
From Jesus.
I'm saying before that. Like, you could trace ethical, like, beliefs in Christianity to, like, Egyptian beliefs. And that you could trace to other beliefs.
Yes.
And, I mean, you've only shown me that there's consistency within people, not within religions. And, I asked my question again, like, why Christianity over other religions?
Well, the first point is I don't put my faith in Christianity. Christianity has been used to justify the Crusades, the Inquisition, the Salem witch trials, all right? I put my faith in Jesus Christ. Christianity has been used to justify slavery in the United States. I would never put my faith in Christianity, all right? Tons of problems with Christianity. Jesus Christ is different. He's reliable. His sinless life, his amazing ethical teachings, his death on a cross forgiving his enemies, and his resurrection from the dead convinces me he's reliable. I can promise you, sir, if you die and rise from the dead, I will listen very carefully to everything you have to say. So that's why I trust Jesus.
I mean, but other religions have miraculous, like, miracles that have happened that make them believe that. If you were a Muslim, you would be just as, like, convinced that Muhammad was the prophet. Just as convinced. And you'd be telling me that Muhammad is the truth and that he had the truth and not Jesus. Jesus was wrong. Everyone before Muhammad's wrong.
Okay, so now you and I are going to try and be objective in our search for truth. Which means we aim towards that, I hope. I hope you're being taught here at this fine university to try and be as objective as you can.
So you've given every religion an equal chance. That would be objective.
I could not disagree with you more. I used to be impressed with that line of thinking. It's impossible to do what you just said. And you see, what you just said, I think, doesn't show open-mindedness. Quite to the contrary, it shows cynicism towards truth. Obviously, there's no way that any one of us can study every philosophy, every worldview, and every religion equally. That's impossible.
You could try.
It's impossible. You don't have that many hours in a day to study every philosophy, every religion, every worldview. You had better look out there and say, okay, what has the ring of truth? What seems to be plausible? What seems to be reasonable? And then you better go after the options. And if someone presents you an option that's better than yours, you better be willing to change, and I better be willing to change. So, be careful of that line of thinking, because it's pretty prevalent in our culture, but it doesn't show, I don't think, a real open-mindedness. Instead, it says, and I'm not really going to try, because I can't, obviously, study every philosophy and every religion equally. There's no way you could do that.
You only need to study two, though. You only need to study two.
What are the two?
So I'm saying everyone says that their religion's right. So you only need to study two religions to show that either one of them's wrong. Because you said that the whole contradiction thing.
Good.
So
You bet. So I got Muslim friends.
okay,
Okay? So you bet. If I claim to love my Muslim friend, I better read the Quran. And I better seek to understand, why is my friend a Muslim? I've got atheist friends. So you're right. I better listen very carefully to why my friends are atheists if I claim to love them. And that's what I try and do. And so, sir, I'll tell you exactly why I'm not a Muslim. I'll tell you exactly why I'm not an atheist. I'll tell you exactly why I'm a Christian, a follower of Jesus Christ.
Yeah.
Because I have friends in these different belief systems. All right, I'll tell you exactly. The majority of my friends are materialists. The majority of my friends live for money. And I can promise you, sir, my friends are good at it. My friends are in Goldman Sachs, JP Morgan, Wall Street, and I promise you, sir, they are good at it. I am convinced to put your faith ultimately in materialism and making money is an incredibly empty life. Are there perks? Oh, yes, there are. Are there benefits? Yes, there are. Am I saying that money is evil? No, money is good. The Bible teaches that repeatedly. But to live for money, which is what the majority of my friends live for, wow, what a mistake.
I never got your name.
I'm Cliff.
Cliff. Good to meet you.
Good to meet you.
Cliff. I'm sorry, but I still don't feel that you've answered my question.
All right, sorry, what's your question?
Why Christianity over other religions?
Because the evidence is Jesus Christ is reliable in a way that none of the options are.
So Muhammad isn't reliable.
Not in the same way that Jesus is, correct. I have respect for Muhammad. He taught one of his 5 pillars, give alms to the poor. I respect that highly. So I respect that part of what he taught. But to trust Muhammad to give me the truth about God, in light of the way he lived his life, in light of the internal contradictions in the Quran, I could never do that. I'd have to part company with my brain. I can't do that.
So you can't have a brain and believe in Muhammad.
I personally am convinced that there are so many logical inconsistencies in what Muhammad taught that for me to follow him would be I'd have to cut off my mind.
Like what?
Like what? All right. Muhammad lived from 570 to about 632 AD. So obviously he never met Jesus. Right? He lives 500 years after. Oh, more than 500. Right. But the eyewitnesses, those who met Jesus, Matthew, Mark, John, Peter, James, insisted Jesus claimed to be God. Now, Muhammad has a great deal of respect for Jesus, but he says Jesus is just a good teacher. He denies his deity. That's impossible. That's the one option about Jesus you can't take. Because clearly Jesus claimed to be God, which means he's either a false teacher or else he is who he claimed to be. He's not this middle ground option that Muhammad chose, which is, wow, great teacher, great prophet from God. No, because Jesus claimed to be God. He's either a blasphemer or else he spoke the truth. So there's an internal contradiction. It's who is Jesus? Just a good prophet the way Muhammad taught, or God? Now, because Muhammad never met Christ, I'm not going to trust him to be my primary source of information. I'm going to go to the eyewitness. I think you would do the same.
So Jesus had no contradictions in anything he ever said, and none of the Bible has any contradiction at all. I don't know. I've only read selects.
Well,
There's no contradiction in the Bible, zero, and in what Jesus said. You know, I do.
There are textual problems in the Bible.
What does that mean?
That means the New Testament that we have today in English is based on over 5,200 Greek manuscripts, which means we have an incredibly high degree of certainty that we really have what the authors wrote, but there are variants in those manuscripts. For instance, Matthew chapter 1. In some of the Greek manuscripts, it's stated once, Jesus was the son of Mary, a virgin. But in other Greek manuscripts, twice in Matthew chapter 1, you've got Jesus was the son of Mary who was a virgin. So you obviously have manuscript variants. And Bart Ehrman, head of the religion department down at UNC Chapel Hill, I got to debate him about 20 years ago, and he just put out that best-selling book that a lot of people have bought that says, there are over 400,000 manuscript variants.
To my original question of why not other religions, you've just shown me that Christianity has these variants and textual problems. And so wouldn't that lead you away from Christianity?
No, because there's no contradiction.
There's no contradiction.
The differences are so small as to be totally inconsequential. See, what truth changes between one Greek manuscript that says once Jesus was the son of a Virgin Mary versus another Greek manuscript that says it twice? I mean, it doesn't change anything.
So there's no contradiction in the Bible.
Well,
I cannot.
here's the good news for you. I've been speaking on this university campuses for 32 years. And I've had religion professors, philosophy professors, students, brilliant students, far more intelligent than I'll ever be, tell me about all the contradictions in the Bible. They haven't hit one yet.
So there's no contradiction in the Bible. So just say, I want to be sure. I don't want to read the Bible today and find one that I think is the contradiction. Good, because according to you, I'd be wrong. But
good.
I'd be confused.
Right. But let's clarify something. I'm going to talk to my wife later tonight. She's up in Connecticut. I'm going to say to her, I spoke to a very articulate young man who had a bike today. That's right. But later in the conversation, I'm going to say, honey, I spoke to over 100 people today. That's not a contradiction, right?
No, because I'm included in one of those.
Exactly. So I debate religion professors at times, and they'll say, well, one gospel says there was one angel in an empty tomb. Another gospel says there were two angels. There's a contradiction. If one gospel said there was only one angel at the empty tomb, and another gospel said there were 2, 3, 4, or 5, then you'd have a contradiction. It is not a contradiction for me to say, I spoke to one man, I spoke to over 100 people. Because my perspective at one point, yes, I was speaking to one gentleman. And obviously I did speak to over 100 people. So you have different perspective. It's like this. You see, this is really confusing. I don't know why some people far more intelligent than me don't get it. You and I standing on the street corner down there in Guadalupe. We see two cars come together. We hear a woman scream, and there's a screech of brakes, and there's a collision. So the police haul us in the office and say, what'd you see? And you say, well, officer, I saw these two cars coming down the street. I heard a screech of brakes, and there was a collision. I say, officer, I saw the two cars coming down the street. I heard a woman scream, and there was a collision. Are we contradicting each other? No. We're giving two different but equally valid perspectives. There was a screech of brakes, there was a woman screaming, and there was a collision. You include one detail that I don't include, I include one detail you don't include. It's not a contradiction. So yes, sir, you have that in the Gospels. You have different perspectives on Jesus.
So it's not as clean cut as you made it seem at first. I guess.
I would argue it is clean cut.
Okay.
Guess what? Why? I would argue if all the Gospels said the exact same thing, I'd be really unimpressed.
Yeah.
Because they all copied off each other. They're just carbon copies. And I wouldn't be very impressed. I love the fact that there are differences in the Gospels, different perspectives. That's what I want when I'm studying history. I want different perspectives.
And I love how energetic you are and how passionate you're about this. But I feel like a Muslim would be just as passionate about his
good. And that is why if you believe in Jesus Christ because I'm passionate, you're a fool. You're absolutely right. For you to believe in Jesus because I'm a passionate follower of Christ, not a good reason. Because you're absolutely right. I could be a passionate atheist, a passionate materialist, a passionate Muslim. Just because someone's passionate. See, not only that, just because someone's sincere doesn't make their belief true, right? It's a great point you bring up. If I sincerely believe in thin ice, when I walk out on that ice, what's going to happen? I'm going through, right?
If it's thin.
If it's thin. If I have sincere faith in thin ice, when I walk out on that thin ice, baby, I'm going through. I don't care how deep my faith is. I don't care how sincere my faith is. So what that tells me is the validity of faith is not determined by its passion or its sincerity. It's determined by the credibility of the object that you believe in. So in other words, if I have a little bit of faith in thick ice, I walk out on that thick ice, I'm cool. I'm not going through. Because the object of my faith is reliable. So you're absolutely right. For you to believe in Jesus because I'm passionate would be a foolish decision. You've got to read the New Testament gospel, study it yourself, and ask yourself, does the evidence of the way he lived, taught, died, and rose from the dead point to his credibility, or does it not?
You're right. And I guess my point I was trying to make is that a Muslim would say that they're consistent and that they're more credible than Christianity.
Good. And that's why you got to read the Quran.
Any religion
Exactly.
says that they're the most credible.
Correct. And that's why you got to read it. You got to read it.
Okay, so that's my next step. Read all the. But I can't read everything.
Okay, you can't. So take the ones that you think are serious options that have some degree of credibility and pray, Lord God, whoever you are, I want to know you. If you're there, be open, be willing, and then go look for him.
Where do I start?
Well, obviously, you know where I'd like you to start. I'd like you to read the Gospels, not as the Word of God. Okay, you don't believe that, so forget that. Just simply read the Gospels as history. What?
How do you know I don't believe that?
Well, if you do, fine, but I'd be surprised based on your line of thinking so far, but if you do, great. And just read the Gospels and ask yourself, does the evidence point to them being Jesus being reliable or not?
And I won't find any contradictions, of course.
You'll find plenty of contradictions with your lifestyle. That's what I find. When I read...
That's a personal attack on me.
Well, but except that you're right. Except I said that's true of me. Okay, we're both in the same boat. You see, I love an indefinite God, because an indefinite moral God allows me to do whatever I want to do. I am offended by a definite, authoritative God, because that means I got to change, and I don't want to change. So there's the contradiction. The contradiction between me and Jesus is, I don't want to live the kind of life he calls me to live.
You don't want to live Jesus' life?
I like being selfish. It comes very naturally. I like being greedy. There's a big part of me that does not want to give my money away. And that's why, to be honest with you, sir, I don't know that I have given enough away. I'm not sure that when I get to heaven, I'm not going to hear from Jesus. You know, Cliff, you were blinded by all the materialism around you in your culture, and you kind of bought into it too much. Now, I try to give away, okay? I try to obey Jesus, and I try to give away, but I'm not sure that I haven't rationalized a lifestyle that is too opulent, it's too much taking care of me and mine, and not generous enough to God's unfed children. And you see, that bugs me. See, that'd be a very good reason for me not to believe in Jesus. So that's the contradiction. And I don't know you, but I can almost guarantee you, because you're a fellow sinner like I am, that's going to be the hard part.
I'm a sinner?
Mm-hmm.
I don't know.
Well, Jesus says we all are sinners. And I've only met one student at MIT who claimed to be perfect. Now, if you want to be the second one, go right ahead and claim to be morally perfect, but I can promise you all of his MIT classmates burst into laughter. Because we know we're not perfect, morally. We experience guilt. We know we've done wrong at times. I certainly have.